I don't think you could come to any other conclusion. It's an old cliche that the first casualty in any war is the truth. This is an instance where the truth has been trashed over and over again, even before February 24th, 2022, when the Russians took the decision to militarily intervene in Ukraine. What we see here and what we can tell clearly from the documents is that this is a war in which hundreds of thousands of people are either dying or being terribly wounded with life-changing injuries. We're seeing that huge parts of Ukraine, especially the eastern part of Ukraine, which has been the subject of military conflict since 2014, almost 9 years now, or a little bit more than 9 years. It's completely devastated. And, the U.S. media missed the story. Instead of focusing on the sort of false presentation about what the war is and how this is a noble cause and it's going great and the Ukrainians are united and, victory is at hand and there's no real urgent need to negotiate, the U.S. media focused all of its attention on this 21-year-old and the capture of him and how dramatic it was when you had U.S. media actually functioning as the investigators tracking down who the leaker might have been, the same media that would presumably, if he had been a source providing that kind of information to the New York Times, they would have protected him, or they should have, but instead they became sort of like the bloodhounds to find him. It's a missed story. The whole war has been misreported by the American media in a terrible way. This is, I would say, one more instance.
Brian, these documents also tell us that there are American forces that are operating on the ground in Ukraine. Special forces are there in Ukraine. And now, the Pentagon has pushed back at this and says, look, there are American forces in Ukraine, but what they're doing is what they do in almost every other country, and that is they are safeguarding diplomatic facilities, the embassy in Ukraine. What are we to make of this?
Well, I think that's absolute nonsense. There's no possible way that the Ukrainian military, in a confrontation, a drawn-out confrontation with Russia that has gone on for almost a year, could have maintained any semblance of having success here or there on the battlefield if they weren't under the direction, supervision of the United States. It's Pentagon, it's intelligence services. It's not just that the U.S. is sending $150 or $160 billion of weapons. This is a Pentagon war. But the American people are being told that it's a Ukrainian war for liberation, when in fact it's a proxy war against Russia. The American government is waging war with Russia. There could have been an easily negotiated settlement to this, and there still could be, actually. The U.S. wanted this, but as long as Ukrainians do all the bleeding, then the American people won't create a massive anti-war movement as happened in Vietnam or in Iraq. So the American government cynically is using Ukrainians to carry out a proxy war. And again, the media has not actually told the American people the truth about this.